They buck wild.
Listen, that's why I give it to y'all parents. I don't know if I like. I don't want to say I don't know if I have what it takes, but to have children and to know that I'm responsible for this human, even if I do a bang up job, they can still end up anywhere. That's
Mm-hmm.
scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying. I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, but you can't let your fear of things keep you from things.
And that is the word.
Yeah.
That's definitely a lesson.
So.
Um, Switching gears a little bit, I there's been a lot of talk on Instagram, Twitter, all over social media because a lot of young men are being accused or called out for their behaviors when it comes to women and consent. And this has been a topic of conversation for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of stuff is coming out now about this generation of like the internet culture, people who are in their 30s. And women are coming out saying, okay, like I have dealt with this behavior from this man. It may not be full on sexual assault and rape, but it is in a position where I'm uncomfortable and I'm saying no, and they're continuing.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation around consent is interesting because it's always on the woman, it seems. Do you feel like men have any real responsibility with that? And how can we continue to push the narrative and push the conversation so that they can understand what it actually takes to protect women and to make sure that women are safe?
Well, I think that it's twofold. One, we have to go back to parenting and
Right.
upbringing. It's how are young men taught to view women. That's the biggest thing. And sometimes, many times, kids grow up in households where they see their own parents victimized, sexually and everything else, and for them, they think that's what love is. That's what they think it's about.
Right.
Also, the environment in which they grow up in, you know, and then it also has a lot to. Young women need to grow up knowing that they have full control of who they are, both as uh, a being, a human being, as well as a sexual being. And they're allowed to be as sexual or not as sexual as they want. Okay. And to also realize that, they're not here to be taken advantage of sexually. Okay. That should be something like that's not even happening.
Right.
Okay. It's really funny because, you bring up this topic, and of course, it's a very hot topic since Me Too and everything else.
Yeah.
But some of the things, like personally, I don't understand. The Me Too movement, for example, is something that was essential as far as I'm concerned. We need to reverse the way things have been, the way people think, and the way men act towards women, and vice versa to a large degree. But I don't think that we should take that movement and take it too far to the point that we're taking down individuals that are really good people based on something that happened 30 years ago in their lives.
Yeah, that's when it gets sticky, right?
Well, it's not even sticky. It's not even sticky to me. How are you going to tell me that you want to press charges or feel a way about something that some young actor or singer did when he was 25 years old? Now he's 45, got 3 kids, a deacon in the church, completely mature, changed, whatever. Wasn't doing anything different than anyone else was doing at that time and that age.
Yeah, because times do change things, and I do understand that. And I'm also, what happens to redemption and learning and allowing someone to be
Well, of course,
forgiven?
that's the whole point. We're supposed to want people to grow, to have them. Can't expect people to be great and good people all their whole lives. Some people have to mature into that based on their circumstances or whatever. So, but more importantly, what I was talking about the Me Too is that I could be wrong, but isn't it about stopping and changing a culture now and moving forward?
Yeah, and Me Too,
Now, why?
mostly
I'm saying,
recently.
why? So why would be why would be intent on going back so far?
You know why? Because Me Too leans on women who were afraid to speak their truths. And a lot of and we know what that narrative is and that dialogue around, it
And I
has
think
to
they should speak their truth, even if it's 30 years old, whatever. But there's a difference between speaking your truth and trying to take someone down.
there is a difference. And I don't think that the line is too blurred there. I don't think people have separated those two things.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to speak your truth and something happened 2 years ago, you can and you should. And I wish you had done it when it happened. But, to go back in 30 years ago to someone who right now is not, or for any period of time has done nothing even remotely like that. Okay.
Mm.
I mean, let's come on. Like, maybe that's something that needs to be done, a little bit more privately. But I just think that it's wrong. I mean, because you have to realize the people that it's affecting. Okay.
Right.
For example, let's just take that person in his 20s, whatever, was a silly kid hanging out in Hollywood, messing around with different girls, doing whatever he did, whatever. Okay. And now, like I say, he's 45 years old, father, this, that, whatever, great contributor to society. And then you want to come and bring something out that takes away his livelihood. So now, all of a sudden, you're not taking away his livelihood. You're taking away those 3 kids, dad's livelihood, his wife, his family.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's different.
Yeah.
It's different when a punishment is on one person. But when you wait that long, then you're punishing like someone's family.
That's tough. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, and I'm glad that you are not afraid to confront the conversation. I was just curious, and it was something on my mind because this stuff has been going on, and it's literally going on now on Twitter and things, and I'm just like, what does it look like for us to have a real conversation without it being contentious about taking someone down? Now, I understand when people are deserving, like you said, but what is the next level of the conversation? What is the next leg of the conversation?
I don't know. I mean, like I say, for one thing, it needs to start with upbringing. Like for me, example, I can't speak because I don't really understand, me personally. I don't understand the rape thing because to me, the pleasure of being with a woman is that she wants to be with me. Like I don't even know I can even get excited if she's not
Yeah, because
you know what I'm saying? It's like so for me personally, I don't understand it, but I know it exists, and I think it should not exist. It should be punished if it ever happens. It should not be allowed. And what I hope is that women are strong, that they can make sure that it doesn't happen. If a guy says anything that makes him feel uncomfortable, the women I know would check him immediately.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be none of this I read on up the line. Oh no, I saw he said something to me at work twice, and I was nervous in my cubicle. It's like, no. The women I know will walk right over to that man's cubicle and go like this, like, check this out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't want to give this conversation any disservice because it has so much more to it. And it's hard to just simplify it in these ways. But all of that to say, we all have to be a lot more responsible. I lean into men, being a lot more responsible about how they behave and how they make women feel, because a lot of the times, to your point, there are women who know how to speak up and know how to say things, but there's a lot of women who just laugh it off to make them feel comfortable, or they don't want it to be a thing. So there's a lot of factors involved in that. And so I
see someone down there making a comment saying it's a multiple layer movement. And and it is. I mean, there's so many layers to this. There's so many, it's,
and I want to be sensitive to people.
In intention, it is 100 as far as I'm concerned. The Me Too movement, 100. I'm 100% with it. In intention, I just think that we need to be careful about how we execute it.
Exactly.
That's the point. Sometimes I think, people get so excited and get so amped up about something that they're not watching how they're really executing something and making sure it's really being done the right way. you know,
Right.
so that we can actually make progress, because that's what life's about. Life's not about
We
going
need to.
back; it's
We need
about
to.
progress.
Exactly.
So, you know, how can we make progress out of this? It should be the most important thing. Like, how do we go from this moment forward in a positive way? How do we make sure that our young daughters, okay, go through much less of this than we do?
That's
You know, that
that's
should
for
be
real.
what should be the focus.
I agree, and because of time, and because of the breadth and depth of this conversation, I'm gonna take it, push it to the side. Thank you for offering your opinion on this.
We could be here all day.
We could be here all day. But thank you for not being afraid to talk about that, especially as a father. But I want to get into you, Leon, the king of all the period pieces and the wavy hair and the cute, like, sliding around on the stage. Like,
I don't know about the hair right now, boy.
listen, it looks that's what I like to call baby father hair, Leon. That looks good to me, honey. You just need a little brush, a little oil. But I want to, because I first saw you in Madonna's Like a Prayer. And I saw that Robert said that that's also where he spotted you, for his interest in you for the role in Five Heartbeats. So can you tell me about did you have to audition for that and what that process was like?
No, I didn't audition. I guess Robert saw me at the MTV Awards. I was there with Madonna, and it was the year the video came out, and then I just, I got my agent said that Jackie Brown, the casting director, said that she wanted me to meet Robert Townsend. And I didn't know until afterwards, stories, and even then you'll see in the making of the Five Heartbeats, that Jackie was already championing me, saying that this is the guy, So I met him with Robert. We just got along, and and he started telling me, some really cool things about how he saw me and envisioned me. And I hadn't had anyone talk to me that way, especially a Black director that was on the rise like that. So at that time, so it was like, yeah, let's go do this.
I love that. And you didn't even have to audition for it, because I know people were clamoring for roles in that thing. Because, like you said, it's not very often that you see a Black director like that. Can you tell me a story about your time on set playing JT and a moment that you felt like, oh, wow, he's really got something with this?
Wow, there's a lot of moments, but I would have to say one of the moments is when we found Eddie after we found out what happened, and we had to pull Dresser off of him for beating him, and that was a moment in the film where all five of us were just completely emotionally drenched. Because, it was just to think that someone would have something to do with killing our beloved manager, one of us.
Yeah.
It's like a family member. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's how we looked at it, as the actors. And so, and Robert just let us go. It's one thing great about Robert, because he's an actor, he lets us play. So he'll just, we'll do the scene and roll the camera and okay, just go ahead. Just go do something. Just do your thing. Just go down. Let's see what happens here. And because everyone was so locked into their roles. Some real moments.
I loved it because Robert is so he's so open. I've watched a lot of interviews about how he directs and how you guys work together. Has it changed the way that you show up to different roles, having someone like him be so trusting? And then, when you go in working with other directors?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing with Robert and I at this point, it's kind of shorthand, because we've won 1, 2, 3. We've done 3 projects together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he already knows that I'm going to come in, completely in character. He knows that. And I'm going to trust that he's going to frame things right and make the performance what it should be. So when you have that kind of mutual trust, it's just about being who you are. and
Exactly.
and coming in and just doing it, and and knowing that this person here, you're not constantly trying to check him to make sure he's not messing things up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I love that because I was curious about with Little Richard.
Mm.
How in the world did that come about? Because you killed it for one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Like
thank you.
my mind was blown. But you don't look like that man. I would have never known that you could carry something like Little Richard. And what a beautiful role to take on.
Well, I felt the same way you did.
Like why
I
me?
did. I felt the same way you did. NBC came to me, had a meeting with me, and wanted to do a Little Richard movie if I was interested. It was based off the success of The Temptations, and
Right. Okay.
they said if I wanted to play him, they would proceed with the project. I didn't really know. I didn't. I was surprised they were coming to me. I was like, really, Little Richard?